Welcome to Scary Stories. This time we've got 3 different scary cryptid tales, including 2 Dogman or Werewolf stories, which start at those times listed on screen right now. But we had a little poll yesterday here on YouTube, and you guys voted that we should start off this episode with an all-new, supposedly true account that we call The Gray Lion of Key West. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I am a British citizen married to an American woman, and last year we spent the summer in and around Key West in your state of Florida. My wife likes to sleep in whilst I am a morning person, so I left our hotel early one morning with my camera strapped around my neck to go take pictures like a traditional tourist is meant to do. Looking at Google Street View, I do believe I was on this highway here, called FL5 apparently. At least according to this. I remember there wasn't too much traffic, so I was crossing the road itself, occasionally pausing to take pictures of the water across the next lane of the highway and the service road. I think this was about the spot I was standing right here. I had traffic heading eastward or to my right behind me, and traffic driving westward, or from my right to my left in front of me, as I was facing north into the ocean. I was standing on the edge of the green grass partition, not actually out in the lane where this image was taken. I was taking some pics of the water in the distance, and I was planning on crossing over and heading closer to the water, after some cars off in the distance to my right eventually passed me by. It was just after dawn, and I was not in any rush. Suddenly, from my left, I heard this weird sound that I could swear was some kind of a lion roaring at me. I knew it couldn't be that, so I turned to my left to see what it really was. Well, what my eyes saw when they looked was not only a lion, but it was a silvery gray one, and it was standing up on its hind legs and running toward me. I'll have you know that since this incident, all my friends think I'm daft. They ask me how I know it was a lion and not, say, a pink elephant. They all consider themselves talented humorists, but I am not applauding their attempts to belittle my sighting. This was a cat-faced creature with a mane. It was a male lion, but it stood and ran like a man. Not only did I notice that it was a male, I noticed that it had mange or some other kind of an illness, because there were places, such as on his arms, where the fur was clearly falling away and exposing the skin underneath. The creature did not appear to be weak, so possibly the beastman had some other illness, like rabies, that makes an animal become agitated. That was a good word to describe this one's demeanor. He was quite agitated, and he seemed to be planning to take said aggression out on this British tourist. So what did I do? What would you do? I ran. The Gray Lion Man was racing toward me from the west, so I ran east, toward that oncoming traffic I referred to earlier. I ran on the highway itself, hoping to flag one of the cars down, although I had no clear plan as to what I might do if one stopped. Maybe I would have begged them to get inside, I'm not certain. At any rate, 2 different brave Americans heroically came to my rescue. I don't even believe the 2 drivers knew each other, but they both brought their cars to a stop right behind me, blocking the Gray Lion's direct route toward me. The beastman took a left and veered off toward the beach, ending my interest in visiting that beach on that morning. I was gasping for breath when the drivers called out to me asking me if I was okay. I couldn't even speak yet, but I gave them a thumbs up. I was about to profusely thank both fellows when they drove off as if nothing at all had happened. I must say, you Americans take things in stride, in a way far different from that of my own countryfolk. I dare say I would have offered both gentlemen some kind of reward for saving my life, but everyone in America is on their way to somewhere else. Every American is busy all the time, it seems. Except for the ones who stay in all the time, but you never run into those people as a tourist, obviously. My wife kids me about my Gray Lion Man experience, as do all my friends. She tells me that the next time we visit your country, we should go to New York City. The only lions they have there are apparently in some zoo up north. I saw a werewolf in Times Square. Dear Scary Stories NYC. I was born and raised in the Midwest, attending grade school in Michigan and going to college in Wisconsin. I've heard so many stories about the Dogman, I could probably compile them into a book. But the only time I ever saw a Dogman, or at least something that looked like one, was in the most unlikely of places. Not just a big city, but New York itself, and in the Times Square Theater District too. I was on one of the most crowded streets in America, and yet, when a supernatural event takes place, it's like it happens for you, and you alone. This is what it was like when I had my encounter with what I'm guessing must have been some kind of a werewolf. This was just at the end of May, and it's still fresh in my memory. So let me just write it all down. Everything I was seeing and hearing and feeling and thinking. Then maybe you can explain to me what that experience was that I had. Was that a real creature? Was it an apparition? An illusion? A hallucination? Or was it some kind of a being with the power to control what others around it see? Or think that they're seeing? So it all started when my girlfriend broke up with me a few days before our planned week-long holiday in New York was about to begin. I decided to go anyway since I needed a change of scenery. I had never been there before, and the best part was that nothing in New York City reminded me of my ex-girlfriend. That made it easier to feel like moving forward with my life. I had a great view from my hotel room window, but I really wanted to hit the streets and see the city for myself. So that's what I did. Taking a deep breath, the flavorful New York air filled my lungs as I walked through the bustling streets of Times Square. As a tourist, I marveled at the vibrant lights and the energetic vibe that electrified this legendary city. It felt like I was walking through Blade Runner. Little did I know that within a matter of seconds, I would be taken out of the here and now, and my perspective on the supernatural would be forever altered. Now, it was loud out there, but to me, it felt like it was an eerily quiet night, despite the throngs of people roaming the square. The incessant noise of traffic and chatter faded into the background, as though the universe wanted to cast a spotlight on something sinister, something out of the ordinary. I tried to shake off the strange sensation, attributing it to urban fatigue. I've heard that's a thing. As I strolled near one of the iconic Broadway theaters, I noticed a figure out of the corner of my eye. Intrigued, I turned my head, but instantly wished I hadn't. A cold chill slithered down my spine, constricting my entire body, as my eyes met the gaze of a creature straight out of nightmares. It was clear he had been staring at me before I turned to return his gaze. Why had he picked me out of this huge crowd? Before me stood a man, if one could even call it that, towering over the crowd. His elongated dog-like head filled my vision, framed by a grotesque snout, lined with sharp, glistening fangs. The dark fur covering his entire body stood on end, as if it held an otherworldly power of its own. I couldn't tear my eyes away from this mesmerizing yet horrifying sight. Yet it didn't seem as though anyone else were even noticing him. Or at least, they weren't registering that there was anything out of the ordinary about him. Unable to comprehend the profound wrongness of the situation, my gaze traveled downwards, only to discover that this abomination wore nothing but a pair of shorts, and some gaudy gold chains draped haphazardly around its neck. Was this creature a bizarre leftover from a dark fairy tale? Or perhaps an unholy fusion of man and beast? I know one thing. If I had that much chest hair, I don't think I would wear so many chains. They can catch in the chest hair, it's painful to get out. But this guy I was seeing clearly didn't care about a little chest pain. He cared about glaring at me, like he knew me, like he hated me for some reason. My heart pounded in my chest, its rhythm accentuating the deafening silence that surrounded us. Sensing my fear, the creature's bloodshot eyes bore into my soul, its lips curling around into what I swear was a grin. Panic coursed through my veins, urging me to flee, to escape the clutches of the nightmarish being before me. And then, in an instant, the werewolf-like creature bolted with an almost supernatural speed. Its powerful legs propelled it forward, each step sending tremors through the pavement. The sight was both mesmerizing and horrifying, like witnessing a beast straight from the darkest of legends, right there on the streets of this once great city. The creature vanished down a dimly lit side street, running west, swallowed by the thick shadows and leaving me frozen in a state of shock. My mind raced, grappling with what I had just witnessed. Had it been reality, or merely a hallucination brought on by the whirlwind of city life? I forced myself to breathe, to accept that I had glimpsed something beyond the realm of human understanding. Or at least my own. Wordlessly, I turned away from the scene, my heartbeat gradually returning to its regular rhythm. The memory of that ghoulish creature, however, burned deep into my consciousness. I couldn't shake the realization that every city holds secrets, even the glittering metropolis of Times Square. I felt like it was proof that beneath the surface of everyday life, the supernatural may lurk, beckoning us to dive headlong into the abyss of the unknown. I felt that you can lose yourself from anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in a wilderness or in the biggest crowd in New York City. You can somehow slip out of this world into another one, no matter where you are. And the beings from those other kinds of places, why, they can come here too. Some of them might be lost here, but maybe some of them come here with the intention of getting us lost. Anyway, I'm curious what you and your listeners think. Was I hallucinating from the stress of losing my girlfriend? Or did I genuinely see something weird? And if so, what was that weird thing that I saw? Was it a werewolf? Or something choosing to appear as one? At least to me. I'm left with more questions than answers, but nevertheless, that's my story. I hope you share it on your show, and thanks. The Timid Little Dogman. Dear Scary Stories NYC. I don't want to tell you what town I live in, but I will tell you that it's right near State Game Lands 103 in Pennsylvania. This is a story about what might be some kind of an animal, or it might be, well, let's just say that I don't like to think too hard about what that freak really is. That's what we call him around here too, the freak. He looks like a dog, but his eyes, those are human eyes. Scared human eyes. Timid, like the low dog on the totem pole acts. We all see that freak going through garbage cans and eating disgusting things he finds laying around. We're all sickened by him and his pathetic behavior. And there are any number of rude stories about who or what his parents might have been. Like I said, I try not to think about all that too much any longer. The first time I saw this sad little thing man was when the creep peeked in at me through my window at night. Talk about a waking nightmare. I was having this dream where no matter what I did or where I went, I had the feeling that someone was watching me. Then I woke up and screamed because there was this big-eyed, sad-looking guy with dog ears on top of his head looking in my bedroom window right at me in the middle of the night. I had heard about this guy before, but I didn't make the connection in that moment when I woke up and got instantly shocked. I thought it was a nut job wearing fake dog ears, like a lunatic or something. But when those ears bent backward at the same time, the very humanoid face expressed deep fear. I could see that those were not plastic ears pinned onto his head. Those were his actual ears. He was a scared little freak that really was half human and half canine. But the thing that mattered to me most in that instant was that I had caught him doing something wrong. I don't know what his intentions were, or why he was staring in my window, but if he wasn't staring at me, then why did my subconscious tell me that he was? Why did I dream of being watched, and then wake up to see him there, unless that is what he was doing? I do suppose he might have had some innocent intentions in his little dog brain, but I suspect that there is just something wrong with that creepy little half-man. One day I made a joke about the dog freak at my job to my buddy Clarence, who has actually been to my house and seen the little monster eating what looked like it might be roadkill. A co-worker of ours, who I will call Janice for the purpose of this email, overheard us and asked if we were talking about a dog who also looked like a man that would go around begging for food at a location that she named. Now, I don't live in that location, but it is on the other side of some woods from me, so it seemed plausible that she had seen the same thing that Clarence and I had been discussing. Janice had a few stories about the timid little dogman that she shared with us. She also had a general distaste for the nasty little man-like thing. In fact, Janice called it the rat dog because of the sickening way it would twitch its nose when it smelled around, similar to the way that rats do it. One of Janice's stories sort of underscores why nobody feels bad for this thing, no matter how hard its life seems to get. Janice said she saw the creature hanging out and looking sad as usual in the yard behind her backyard. Now, that family had moved out about a month prior, and although the house had been sold to a new owner, there was nobody living in there yet when this occurred. Janice has a husky dog, and so she took a can of his Alpo and brought it out back toward her back fence to give to the creepy freak dog. Janice said she leaned over the fence, trying to hand the bowl of food to the rat-like dogman, who possesses hen-like appendages, so she reasoned he should be able to hold things like a dog bowl. Rather than accept the food from her, though, Janice said the creature acted scared of her and backed away. She leaned even further over the fence to offer the dog food to the freak, but she had a hitch in her back and experienced a jolt of pain. Not only did she drop the bowl of dog food, but her glasses fell off her head as well, landing on the other side of the fence in the Alpo. This caught the interest of the frightened little skinny dogman, and he crept closer to that scene. Janice said she backed off slowly so as not to scare him. She was hoping to see him eat some of the Alpo, since he looked so skinny as to be malnourished. The thin and frail beastman crept slowly closer, keeping his attention on both the Alpo in front of him and the woman who had given it to him, who he was still frightened of. And then, in a flash of sudden movement, the dogman grabbed Janice's glasses from the dog food and ran off with them at lightning-fast speed. Janice swore that she would never do anything nice for that little monster ever again, and that he was ungrateful. He also cost her a tidy sum of money to get new glasses, so she says she hopes her glasses that he stole make him go cross-eyed. It seems that even the people who try to be on the little dogman's side end up disliking him just the same as the rest of us. At any rate, Janice and I both alerted some local officials we have dealings with about the situation. And I was there one day when some animal control people went into those woods looking for our hero. They came out wide-eyed, telling us that was a human that was also a dog. Janice and I were like, duh, that's what we told you. But these guys were in shock. They insisted they couldn't deal with the creature because they didn't know if it was actually a human. They were afraid to lose their jobs or even go to jail for harassing a human being. I never saw two big tough guys look so spooked and so scared before in my life. The one of them kept openly shivering in front of us, and it was a warm day. So I don't think going through the normal channels is gonna work in this case, and I'm writing to you to see if any of your viewers have an idea of what we should do next. Janice says we should focus on getting some clear photos of the half-animal man, and that then we have to prove he's real. Once the public knows the truth, then some government agency will no doubt step up and see to it that the man, or whatever he is given a place to live. And maybe then, at that point, a doctor can examine him and explain to all of us around here just what the heck the origin story is for the timid little dogman. You gotta give respect. It's impossible to dismiss her. So welcome our newest PayPal Club member, Melissa. Please join me in welcoming Melissa Kutch to our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Melissa now gets to see our weekly secret uncensored stories, the next of which is either coming out tonight or in the morning, and only members get to watch. Here to explain it all in detail is our international TV spokesmongrel, Henry Lee Dogman. Thank you. Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after, I think, 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.